Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Me Driving to Work. I am your streamer slash chauffeur, BHCxDark. Name is always right here in the corner, and as always, you can follow along on YouTube and Facebook at the Black Hood Crew, and then follow along at my name directly on Twitch, Twitter, Steam, Provo, TikTok, Instagram. It is Tuesday, April 11th of 2023, and I'm on my way to work on another gray, rainy day. Literally raining right now. I don't know if you can see it back here, but he's raining. So, I was just reading a quick little article of Governor Dumbass's attempts to usurp Disney and to basically try and make their lives as miserable as he can. He's essentially throwing a temper tantrum just because they're doing something that they are fully within their legal right to do, which is to voice an opinion about whatever the hell they want. In this particular case, it was his what was nicknamed the Don't Say Gay bill, but it was really a bill designed to keep people from even acknowledging, let alone talk about, the fact that people of other sexual orientations and genders even exist. And he's a scumbag for doing it, and I hope he gets run over by a truck. Disney publicly voiced opposition to it, as they are fully within their right to do, and I'll get to that in a minute. And he's basically been throwing a temper tantrum ever since. First and foremost was his stripping of their control over the Reedy Creek district, which is the municipality where Disney, the actual parks exist, as well as some of the surrounding areas that they control. And not just in terms of the parks themselves, but when it came to like road work, the electrical grid, sewage, like all the usual utilities and services that would normally be run by the city, county, state, it was wholly managed by Disney. So he removed that. So now responsibility of these services now falls onto the city, county, state. Which is just all the more taxes going to be required by people who live in the area. So that's only going to raise taxes because of this asshole temper tantrum. Now, when I say they had the legal right, now this happened many years ago. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but there was a Supreme Court decision called Citizens United. Citizens United, although the name may throw you off, actually gave corporations, all corporations that work at, are headquartered here in the United States, basically special treatment as if they existed as a person. In this particular case, it's the equivalent of giving Mickey Mouse an actual living voice to voice opinions and make or either support or revoke support for different pieces of legislation. So, Disney was doing just that when they came out publicly in opposition to the Don't Say Gay bill. And since then, Governor Dumbass has been doing everything he can to strip Disney of any special privileges and power that they had still have in some cases, um, in the area where they are currently located, which again is the Reedy Creek District. Now, we all know, and for those of us with a brain in our skulls, know what his ultimate goal was to gain control of Disney from an entertainment standpoint, not from a political standpoint. He originally did not want to go after them when it came to their special privileges in terms of like how they handle city services. His ultimate goal was to have influence over the content that they created. That means movies, TV shows, things of that nature. That was what his end goal was. However, Disney beat him to the punch. So, when it comes to city services, the Disney Corporation is not directly involved. In fact, they had a committee, a board specifically designed to basically be in charge of and take responsibility for the services required in the district. Your power, sewage, road work, things of that nature would fall under the responsibility of this board, with Disney kind of overseeing everything. Now, they were in control, I think, until February 8th with, what the hell is this person doing? Dude, you're in the way. Move. Governor Dumbass's new board would take control, I think it was February 9th. On February 8th, the last day of the previous board, the one assigned by Disney, they wrote into and certified a piece of legislation that would essentially hogtie any subsequent board or anybody else that would attempt to take over. And what it did was essentially strip the board of any power to directly govern Disney in any way, shape, or form, and force them to only be responsible for the appropriate. Let's go. It would make this board, any new board that is assigned or voted in, or however it is in this particular case, that takes over, and essentially make them only responsible when it comes to the city services. But they are now completely detached from Disney. So now Disney has no control over them, but also does not provide support, which is what the previous board had. They had Disney support. They had Disney funding. Now they don't. And this piece of legislation not only went into effect immediately, but it does not expire till 21 years after the death of the last current living descendant of King Charles III. I believe it's King Charles. No, King Henry VIII. Now, for anybody that knows the British monarchy or even bothers to listen in on what goes on across the pond, they still have a royal family. Now, although they don't hold any actual political power, that's the prime minister, and the legislative body, which is I don't know what the hell it's called, the House of Lords or something like that. Anyway, so they do have this royal family, but in essence, they're just figureheads, just a face to hold the position, which in reality has no power. The current royal family, as they are alive right now, are direct descendants of King Henry VIII. I believe it's King Henry VIII. You can comment below and correct me as necessary. But right now, the last currently living, at the time of the legislation being passed, the last living descendant is currently, I think, 1 year old? Might be pushing 2 years old. So, as it stands right now, this piece of legislation will endure long after all of us are gone. Because keep in mind, it's 21 years after this 2-year-old's death. So we're talking about a very long time, at least a minimum of 100 years. So no, they will not be taking over. They will not be legislating anything when it comes to Disney's ability to generate content on their terms or be able to punish the company directly in any way, shape, or form. It's only going to come down to what they have the ability to govern, and that is only when it comes to municipality services, road work, electricity, sewage, water, things like that. And that's it, with no backing from this. So essentially, Ron the dumbass picked a fight he's never going to be able to win, and he's definitely not going to be around to see the resolution of. He's an idiot. Clearly a terrible, terrible human being and nothing more than a grown child. A man-child, if you will. He's made his decision, and as I've told many people before, and many people since, his decision not really politics, mostly just when it comes to Disney and what stupid stuff the governor's been up to lately. But no, I have not seen Mario yet. I'm seeing it next week with my kids. If not this weekend, then probably this weekend. If not this Saturday, then definitely on Sunday I will be seeing it. But I've actually heard directly from somebody that I work with, a Hollywood police officer who saw the movie with his son. This guy is very particular when it comes to movies. He will tell you flat out, this sucked, this was good, this was great, this was absolute dog water. He gave the seal of approval for the Mario Brothers movie. So, his seal of approval, along with the Rotten Tomatoes scores that we've talked about, shows that this movie is definitely top shelf. He even says it's better than Sonic. In his opinion, it's better than Sonic 1 and 2. So, and we know, because we talked about this, that the 2 Sonic movies were great. Very, very great. So for this movie, Mario Brothers movie, to be better than than our current 2 Sonic movies, that says a whole lot about the quality of this film. But like I said, I have not seen it yet, so hashtag no spoilers. At least until after I've seen it. But that won't be until next week. So yeah. Mario movie. Breaking records in the box office. Let's see. The Traditionalist 101 saying, I think with the success of Mario and Sonic proves that superhero fatigue is a myth. I would agree to a degree. So yes, we do have a whole bunch of superhero movies. Neither Mario or Sonic would be considered superhero movies in a comic book sense. They are heroes with super abilities, but they're not uberly fantastical abilities outside of maybe Sonic with his super speed. But really, Mario's just a regular flipping guy who can jump high and occasionally shoot the occasional fireball after consuming a special type of flower. But outside of that, these two characters are, I wouldn't consider them superheroes in the sense of like a comic book superhero or like how a Marvel or DC film handles superheroes. But are they heroes? Absolutely. 100%. So I wouldn't say there's a superhero fatigue or superhero film fatigue. But I'm guessing what people wanted was something that really hasn't been done properly, in a good minute. Like we've had video game movies, and we've spoken about this before, where you've had Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, Silent Hill, a to be unacknowledged previous Mario movie, and others here and there, but nothing really substantial or really good came out or was developed until we got Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog opened that door to a renewed possibility and hope of studios actually getting a video game adaptation film done correctly. When Sonic the Hedgehog 2 came out, it only cemented that hope. That damn, not only did they get it right the first time, but shit, they did it again. They did a sequel movie based on the video game franchise that was actually better than the first. And again, with those two films now in history, that shows that it is about time that we finally get, and studios are finally sticking to and being dedicated to writing and properly developing movies based on video game franchises. I'm happy for the success of Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2. I am ecstatic for the success of the Mario Brothers movie, because all this does is open doors to other video game franchises now becoming options for films. And not only that, but since it's been a hot minute, I'm not including the Sonic movies because they're more recent than not, but it's been a while since we had someone actually make a decent attempt game movie or a movie based on a video game franchise. Bro, come on, let's go. And I think what's added to that is we have a younger generation of writers, producers, character designers, like people working in the film industry of a younger generation who grew up on these franchises, who know Mario, who know Sonic. And I think that's part of what led to both Sonic movies and this Mario movie being so successful, is the fact that we have people behind the camera who know the source material, who know these characters, that know their stories, that know, what they're capable of, and ultimately want to be faithful to the source material, but also bring yeah, we talked about that in the podcast yesterday. Both Sonic movies in a top 10 all time as far as adaptation. 100% agree. Mario is number 6, I would say currently, yeah. But they're predicting will surpass Sonic 2 in total box office. Yeah, I definitely see that being the thing. It's already broken several records when it comes to box office opening, as well as continued a box office record being broken for as long as the movie's been out, and it's only been out for not even a week yet. So definitely, I see the Mario movie being the number one uh, video game franchise film product, but also being a huge contender for number one animated film in general. Not just something from a video game franchise, but just an animated film in general. I'm seeing a lot of positive opinions of this film, and that just gives me hope again for doors to be open for other video game franchises to be brought to film. Would I love to see a Zelda film? As a massive Zelda fan, yes, I would absolutely flip if they did a Zelda film, but it would have to be done right. The same can be said for a Metroid film. The Metroid franchise would actually be easier to translate to film than even Mario did. And they did Mario first, because obviously he's a huge name, not just within the video game community, but outside of it, and now even more so thanks to this movie. I would love to see, if you can believe it, a Legacy of Kain film series based on both Legacy of Kain and the Soul Reaver series. Those would be monster films. What else would be good? I mean, there's plenty of video game franchises that, if they were to be translated to film, would be absolute monster. Like, they would shut down movie theaters because they'd be so packed with people to go in and see these films. And I think Metroid, Zelda, Kirby would be absolutely hilarious. A Kirby film would be absolutely amazing. Because Kirby doesn't talk outside of one word, two word phrases, maybe. He's a creature of action. And I think those Kirby film would be right up their alley, just like the Mario film, being a kid-friendly movie that would get adults to go see it, especially because but yeah, I could definitely see that being a thing. A Metroid movie would be absolutely amazing, and it wouldn't necessarily be more for adults because we're not talking about like it would be filmed in the style or have the goriness of say the Alien film. You know what I mean? Like the Ridley Scott films. I don't think it would be anything like that. Although there is inspiration from those films in terms from a sci-fi factor. But no, I think Metroid would be a very good film. And because of, well, the main protagonist, you wouldn't, like, for, obviously, we know who Samus Aran is. But for a movie-going audience, I think they can hold back. Introduce Samus in the power suit, or even in the already started the Varia suit. Have her go through her film adventure, and then just before the credits roll, takes off her helmet. Blows the mind of every person that obviously doesn't already know that Samus Aran is a woman. I think that would be a fantastic reveal for a movie-going audience. You feel for this character, you see the crap this character has gone through, you see what they're capable of, the heroic act of Samus Aran. And then she removes her helmet. I mean, come on. That alone would be worth filming. I mean, what other franchises could you really do that would translate well enough to film outside of the ones already discussed? I mean, like I said, Legacy of Kain would be absolutely fantastic. Coupled with the Soul Reaver series, both would be absolutely fantastic. They tried Halo as a TV series, and unfortunately, the people behind that were definitely not in the know. Like, they definitely didn't know what they were trying to make, because that was not good at all. They tried The Witcher. Witcher was much better, mostly because they had plenty of people, including the lead actor, trying to keep the series true to the source material. They got rid of him for that reason, unfortunately, because Hollywood, and this particular case, Netflix, but like, they're a bunch of dickheads, really. Like, you have a guy who is very enthusiastically wants to do this role, wants to do his job, and is willing to go out of his way to do his job as faithfully as humanly possible to the source material. But if you're going out of your way to get away from that source material, from said source material, and essentially creating a different type of product, you're only shooting yourself in the foot, because now you're alienating the person most hyped to be part of that project. Personally, that's a foul, like straight foul. Like, I don't know why you would, as a studio trying to create a product, would go out of your way to alienate essentially the face and voice, trying to make sure that the property you're working on stays faithful to the source material, while also providing an entertaining narrative for people that are, who might not be aware of the source material, or have never been exposed to this. Yeah, I think they're wrong for that. And I definitely see the quality of the show and maybe a future complete abandonment of the show in the near future. So, I've arrived at work. I only got 5 minutes to make my way inside, but thankfully it only takes me a few to get to the door. So, quick breakdown: YouTube and Facebook, Black Hood Crew; BHCxDark, my name directly; Twitch, Twitter, Steam, Trovo, TikTok, Instagram. Thank you again to the Traditionalist 101 for being on today. And for anybody else that watches, I will see you guys next time, tomorrow night, 9 p.m., Apex Legends. Until then, be safe, be smart, and be excellent.